Let me start by saying that I'm a female college student. My school is known for being a big party school, but I'm not really into that. I never have been, even in high school. I never saw the point in it all. But after my last party, I have even more reason not to be. It was my first semester of freshman year. I'm a chemistry major and met a lot of my friends through various labs and lectures. There have also been a fair share of creeps. I'm not really used to being the center of anybody's attention, as I never have been before, and really don't see the reason why I should be. I liked having only a few friends and keeping my circle close. I liked being by myself, in the background. But still, new state, new rules, and there were creeps. One such creep was named Tom. He was in my chemistry lecture, and from day one, he just seemed to fixate on me. At first, I'd catch him staring at me when I looked over my shoulder at the clock. He always made sure to sit behind me. I'd smile politely and turn back around, slightly creeped out, but nothing super bad. Then, after a couple of weeks, he got up the nerve to talk to me. I was raised to never be rude or just ignore people talking to me, so I played nice, even though I wasn't interested. I don't know why I was against him at first. He seemed nice enough when we talked, but something in my gut told me it was off. Anyway, I started seeing him everywhere, even when I knew he was supposed to be in class. I tried everything for him to get the hint. I tried avoiding him, moving seats in lectures, and shutting down his attempted conversations. Unfortunately, I'm not a very confrontational person, and couldn't find a way to just tell him to leave me alone, and he didn't seem to get the hint. My friends always teased me that I had an admirer, and I'd laugh along, but it unnerved me. He just started inserting himself into my life, and I didn't know what to do. One time, just after Thanksgiving break, I was studying outside at a picnic table, and lo and behold, Tom shows up. He starts asking me how my break was, how my family was, if I was happy to be back, and then he asked me how Bruno and Riley were. Bruno and Riley are my dogs, and while I love to show them off, I knew for a fact that I had never talked about them with him or showed him any pictures. The rational part of my mind reminded me that Riley was the lock screen on my phone, so he could have at least seen her when I was checking the time or something. And Bruno was my wallpaper, so he might have seen him at one point. But how did he know their names? When I asked him, he got nervous and tried to convince me that I'd told him, but I insisted that I didn't. He made some excuse and walked off. I should have done something then, maybe talked to security or something, but I didn't. I regret to say that I didn't want to. I thought I could handle it myself. I never have been good at asking for help. So fast forward a little, Tom started getting weird. He kept asking for my number, asking me out, and trying to get me to invite him back to my dorm. He got really aggressive. Eventually, I got to the point where my instinctual, well-learned manners went out the window, and I flat out told him, directly yet gently, as I'm not in the habit of hurting people's feelings, that I was not interested in having a relationship with him or anyone right now. He got angry and yelled at me for leading him on. He called me names like slut and bitch and whore, and then just stormed off. He started texting me non-stop, telling me how much he hated me and how I deserved to die. I still don't know how he got my number. I know what you're thinking. Now she must have gone to the police, or security, or something, right? Nope. I was an idiot. I'm not a very confident person as it is, and some tiny part of me felt guilty, like I actually had led him on. I didn't even tell anyone about the texts. I just deleted them all, convinced that if I ignored them long enough, he'd just give up and go away. I was a stupid, naive little 18-year-old, and I just let it happen. Fast forward about a month or so. It's near the end of the semester, close to time for us all to head home for winter break. My friend Anna had just broken up with her boyfriend, and she and my other friend, Tori, wanted to go out and drink to take their mind off of things. Tori and Anna are both very petite girls, and naturally, are incredible lightweights. They've been known to make some terrible choices after just a few beers, so they asked me to come with them and keep an eye on them. I agreed, and brought my own water bottle with me, so that I wouldn't have to drink anything there. Even the water at these parties made me suspicious. The three of us went to the party, and while Tori and Anna went to go and get drinking, I sat on the couch in the corner and kept an eye on them, taking sips from my water. We'd been there for about 3 hours, and then someone sat down beside me. I look over, and, you guessed it, there's Tom. He seems totally hammered already, and he starts talking to me, telling me almost incoherently how sorry he is, how much he misses me, how he overreacted, and how he wishes he could take it all back, asking if we could hang out later. I refused, and told him to leave me alone, but still, he persisted. After another 10 minutes, I saw Anna across the room, stumbling drunk, about to walk off with some guy. I got up from the couch after telling Tom yet again to leave me alone, and went over to Anna. I separated her from her new friend, who was not nearly as drunk as her, and clearly wanted to take advantage of her, and got her and Tori back together. I tried to tell them that we should leave, but they begged me to stay a little longer, just so they could dance some more. And there's no arguing with those two when they're drunk, so I let them. When I went back to the couch, Tom was gone. Please note that most of the rest of the story I only pieced together after the fact, as some of my memories are vague at best, and most are just missing altogether. I must have left my water bottle on the couch when I went to save Anna. After I took a few drinks, I started to feel weird. I was super dizzy and shaky, so I decided it was time to go home. I grabbed Anna and Tori, and we left, taking the bus back to the dorm. Or at least we must have. When I woke up, I was in my bed, still in my clothes from the night before, and I had the worst headache. I couldn't remember anything at all after I had started to feel weird. My roommate told me that I had come home around 2 and stumbled into bed and passed out, mumbling something about not feeling well. She was surprised, as she knew I didn't drink, but just figured I'd decided to let it go a little and had a little too much. I started to realize what had happened. Tom drugged my water. I felt sick. I knew Tom was a weirdo, but I never thought he'd be quite so driven. It sent shivers down my spine to think about what he planned to do. As if to confirm my suspicions, when I checked my phone, I had a new text from Tom, and it said, "Why you leave so early last night? I had such a night planned for you." I didn't go out much after that. Not just to parties, but to class either. I told my friends and professors I was sick, and got the last week's notes from them. After finals and break, I came back and found out that while Tom was stalking me, he was neglecting his classes, and as a result, had flunked out. I haven't seen him since, but still, I haven't gone to a party since then. This happened to me around late June, early July. I am a very friendly person, and my mom and sister would always advise me to be more cautious towards the strangers that I interact with. I guess I have a kind aura, because people randomly approach me to ask for directions or simply start a conversation. I live on the A line in New York City and was making my way home after a long day at work. A beggar was on the train and passed everyone, but stopped at me and asked me directly if I had any change to spare. Usually I do, but all I had that day was my debit card, so I told him the truth. "Sorry, sir, I don't. I only have my card." He then rolls his eyes and blurts out, "Every motherfucker in this city seems to be broker than me," and walks off. I was a bit embarrassed and looked around to see if anyone else heard. I look over to my right and see a man in his late 20s shaking his head, looking at me, and he says, "He asked me too, and I gave him the same reply. I really don't have any cash on me, or I would have given him some." We both laughed for actually feeling bad that we didn't give this douchebag any of our hard-earned money. Anyway, I proceeded to ride the train and got up to get off at the next stop and transfer to a different train. I noticed the gentleman that spoke to me was getting off too, and then walking in the same direction I was, and suddenly waiting for the same train I was waiting for. So again, we made conversation, just some small talk. After a couple of stops, we said our goodbyes, and he gets off the train. A week later, I'm heading home again, and ran for the A train that I had just saw pull into the station, but I missed it. However, I see someone waving inside the train as it's leaving the station, and it was that guy. He saw me running for the train, and tried holding the doors, but it was too late. A couple days later, I'm making my way home, and the train pulls up to the station, and I see someone sleeping inside the train, leaning against the window that ironically happens to pull up in front of me. The doors open, and I enter the train, look over, and the man that was sleeping is the same dude again. Now, New York City has millions of people. It's very unlikely to see the same person 2 times in a row in a matter of 2 weeks. He smiles and taps on the seat next to him, offering me a seat. He starts telling me about his busy day and says that he fell asleep on the train because he was so burnt after smoking a joint earlier that day. Hearing this, I laughed because I smoked too, and I would have never expected. He didn't look like the type of guy to smoke weed. He laughed and said he's a huge, proud pothead, and is looking forward to get off the train to roll up another joint. I personally ran out that very morning, so I laughed and said, "I wish I could roll one up when I got home, but I ran out this morning, during my wake and bake." He quickly said, "Well, I have plenty to spare. Would you care to join me for a joint? My treat." Now, I don't know what entered my body and possessed me to say what I said, but I accepted his offer. And to make matters worse, the station we were pulling into was his stop. He gets up and motions me to follow him, and I do, because I said that I would. I actually got off the train with this man. Now, no one knows that I met this stranger, I didn't tell anyone about the coincidences of encounters with this one particular person in such a huge city like New York. As soon as I'm off the train, my feet feel like they're getting heavier and heavier with each step that I take, because my heart is sinking deeper and deeper as I follow him out of the turnstile and up the stairs to leave the station. I feel so nervous and scared that I think I might shit my pants. My brain is scrambling with what to say to get out of this situation. He could rape me. He could kill me. He could chop me into little pieces, and my friends and family wouldn't have the slightest clue, because I never mentioned this man to anyone. With these thoughts running through my mind, I am now cotton-mouthed and on the verge of passing out. I don't know where I am, but we're on a residential block in front of this old building. He is now digging in his pockets vigorously for his keys, and I noticed he's very anxiously looking around and doesn't look as friendly as he did on the train. His face was more wired, more serious. This scared me even more, so I blurted out, "Oh crap! I forgot my pregnant sister's waiting for me. That's why I was rushing home. She's outside my house waiting for me with some packages that I had sent to her house." He knew I was lying. His face said it all. And he was like, "Well, you're here. It won't be more than 5 minutes." The lump in my throat is so enormous that I can barely speak over it. No. She's probably hot and aggravated from waiting so long. If I go with bloodshot eyes, she's gonna know I had her waiting so I could get high. He put his head down and put his arm around my shoulder and sort of scooted me into the little hallway where the building mailboxes were. Now we were off the street and inside this hallway. Some sort of anger came over me, 'cause the thought of me being raped came to mind and angered me instead of frightened me. So I shrugged his arm off my shoulders and I said firmly, "I've got to go now." He got upset, like a scary upset, and said, "Fuck it then! Go! Leave!" and slammed the door open. I ran down the block and tried to remember which way we had walked from the train station to his building. I had no clue where I was. Suddenly, I hear someone walking behind me, and it's him. He calls me by my name, but I didn't stop. I keep my eyes ahead, and I'm speed walking / jogging, and I see a woman coming out of her house, so I walk up to her and say, "Oh my God, Jody! I haven't seen you in forever! How are you?" and go in for a hug. Naturally, she pushes me away and asks who I was looking for, and I quickly whispered, "Please help me, he's following me." She looked up and saw the old guy come to a halt, and then said, "Oh my God, how are you?" and hugged me. When she hugged me, he turned around and walked away. He kept looking back, but also kept walking, and when he was completely out of sight, I broke down crying from fear, and from the overwhelming feeling of being blessed with this woman's presence, because if she never came out of the house, only God knows what would have happened to me, because he came back twice as mean and crazy looking this time. I still don't know what possessed me to accept a smoking session offer from a complete stranger, but there's my lesson learned. Never again. Whoever you are, lady, I just want to thank you. You possibly saved my life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. I really appreciate everyone who hung out with me this weekend on my live stream I had a lot of fun chatting with you guys and getting to know everyone. And for all of you on there, you know my name. And why is it my name? Leave your answer down in the comments below. But my name is... Exactly. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another video. And until then, just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.